Hey everyone, GlitchTeno yet again, this time with a viewer request. On my last Stego combat guide, a viewer asked about a Stego v Stego combat guide. So I bat-phoned the best Stego player I know, Jayce, who's here to help me die to hopefully help provide some insight on how it's done. But before that, the usual like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest Evrima news, findings, and funny crap I happen to run into along the way. It really does help, and as always, I hope you enjoy. I sped up some parts to get the boring walkabouts out of the way. After all, this is a brawl of the battleships, and positioning is key, as you'll see. Now here you'll see a great bait by Jayce. He comes in and bites my tail, immediately turns to avoid my obvious tail swing. I clip part of his body doing next to no damage, and he swings for a body shot or back leg shot. He does this several times to me before I realize what he's doing. Masterful baiting, don't you agree? I start sprinting. He sprints alongside me. You see where this is going. He bites until I stop and swing, land minimal damage. He swings for a body or back leg hit on me again. At this point, I'm trying to land any damage possible, and I'm choking a little bit, not going to lie, only to take a spiky biff to the mush again. And another spiky biff to the mush while running my bleed down. Not a very strong opening on my part, to say the least. I landed a tail hit, but the writing's on the wall here, and I'm down. That was a great first round, but after that warm-up, let's see if I can pull this back. So a strong start on my part. I get either base tail or back leg hit, and immediately turn to dodge his counterattacks, taking only 2 tail hits. It's important you're always holding the movement key that will turn you away from the opponent's steg, so that in between swings, your head turns fully away, and your body will do a little lunge away, making it more likely you'll take less damage like I did. Now we're getting into a swinger's dance-off, waiting for one to swing to clip the tail of the other. I'm using a macro to cut the animation short while he's spam clicking his mouse. I'll get more into depth later on in the video. Now I take a more defensive position as he runs around trying to get a better, more offensive position to get at my head or body. While this can work, there's a few important things to note. Stego does take 2.4 times bleed damage while running, and its whole kit, from how it attacks to stamina regeneration, is based around a defensive playstyle. Stego is more than capable of playing aggressively, but its strengths can only truly shine, in my opinion, from a defensive position. That said, you do need to get used to switching between the two at the appropriate moments, something we both do right and wrong in this video. Jayce here goes on the offensive and takes either a headshot or a body shot for it. One of those wrong times I mentioned. As I just keep swinging and keeping my tail pointed at him for minimal damage, I didn't use WASD for that. So how did I do it? Let's rewatch. As Jayce comes around, I begin to turn to line up my forward fast swings, which also turn me to the opposite side I swing from. 4 forward fast swings, then I side fast swing for the kill. Here, we sauce the body pile by throwing it back with the fork calls, then get back into position. He's trying to bite my tail to bait out my swings again. Here's where the talk of macros versus click spam comes into play. It's been noticed that when you use macros to auto-click once per millisecond, the animations are cut by 20 to 40% depending on the attack, which allows me to get off 6 swings during his 5, or makes me 20% faster than him. Then I get another final swing for a total of 7 while he retreats. Macros can be easily countered by things like server-side validation, or critical game logic, damage calculations, and character actions that should be handled server-side, which makes it more difficult for players to manipulate the game mechanics through client-side macros or cheats. Input rate limiting the rate at which players' inputs are accepted. You set a maximum number of actions per second that a player can perform. If the input rate exceeds this limit, you could be ignored or auto-disconnected from the server. a server-side or client-side detection, implementing detection mechanisms that look for patterns consistent with macros. For example, if a player is clicking inhumanly fast or precise, it could trigger a warning or other countermeasures. Now, while the game already has easy anti-cheat, they should get a better anti-cheat, as any low-grade anti-cheat should already be able to detect the use of macros altogether, and it's obvious EAC does not. Game design. Make it so that animations cannot be cancelled, that there's no reward for macro usages or even punishments via game mechanics. Regular updates to all the above mentioned so that macros are kept out of the game, along with dozens of other potential solutions. The problem of macros was solved over a decade ago. Some games embrace them and others don't. I think the use of an auto walk or an auto skip macro are generally fine, but the attack macros are increasingly problematic within the game. Anyway, moving on. Oh, I win. Once again, I've gone defensive here and lined a solid body hit on Jayce. This is why I say Stego shines more defensively, at least for me that is. I also continue using fast forward swings to turn my tail into his attacks, while still attacking myself and dealing damage and area of denial. While staying defensive, when I see him stop, I start tapping S and A to turn back and left, just enough to not take headshots. I don't know when he'll swing, just that he will. I do this quite often in this fight, before taking the opportunity to fast swing for the kill. Here we have another masterful baiting by Jayce. He does a faux charge at me, so I stop and get a head swing in, and he stops at the same time to fake me out and swings into my tail for the kill. It's truly shameful how often I fell for his master bait tactics during the course of our sparring. Now here you see what it's like to be on the receiving end of a fast swing when you choke up and just can't get the fast swing out. Remarkable. Oh, and I just want you all to know, spawn points are manually set. All in all, it was great fun sparring with Jayce. I learned quite a lot from it all. I hope everyone who's watched was able to take something away as well. Linked down below is a link to the Evrima Quick Guide Stego page, which includes bleed rates and damage numbers for Stego. If you don't take anything else away from this, then I hope you at least take away, like from the last two vids, patience. That, and don't get hit in the head. That's like 48% of your total health, or 2500 damage. Around 25% bleed if you're standing. Actually way more now because of the bleed overhaul. But hopefully with some of the tips I've outlined in the video, you'll be able to avoid taking those headshots a bit better than I did. If you're not spam clicking, but giving like a quarter-second delay between swings while holding S and either A or D, you'll turn back and move in the appropriate direction, allowing you to start dodging the moment the swing is done. You can keep turning your camera to keep forward fast swinging to do a smaller dodge plus damage plus area denial. You can really use this side fast swing too to outswing players that don't know about it. For just general moving around, you can alternate sprint, trot to start sprinting but stop just before you get up to speed, where you'd start losing stamina, so you can go faster than the 9km/h trot speed. I average about 16 kilometers an hour with the skip. I always run the full marigold diet as well, since the steg has enough health and bleed, even after recent changes, to just tank everything. And the full 25% stam diet is just hands down the best diet in the game, arguably, except for the Tenno, who has to have the bleed resist diet in my opinion. But with all that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time.